After we have now recited Surah Hamd, the person can recite any surah of his will. Usually, and in most cases, this will be Surah Ikhlas. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Say, He is Allah, the One. Allah is eternal and absolute. There is no one born of Him, nor was He born, and there is none like Him. Say, He is Allah, the One. Unlike the gods depicted from other religious ideologies, Allah does not have any partners, equals, or rivals. Because Islam is a monotheistic religion, which means that it's based on one God. There are no gods that Allah has wars with. Instead it is unity. Allah is the one God. There is one source of true power. There is only one God to make the decision, and there's only one God that controls the universe, the earth, and the heavens. There's no multitude, it's just perfection in every aspect. In other religions, there's different ways of thinking. They think that there's multiple gods, but in Islam, there is only one God. And it's the same for, let's say, original Christianity and original Judaism. Because at the time, that was also a very true God, but then over time it became more, I guess you could say, corrupted in a way. So that there's in Christianity, there's a sense of Trinity rather than the one monotheism. Allah is eternal and absolute. In any man, you will see imperfections. No matter if they're a Muslim or non-Muslim, if they're black or if they're white, there's always going to be imperfections. Allah, however, has no imperfections. He is complete. As in, there is no more space in Allah to improve. He has no space left to be more perfect, because He is, as we know, infinitely perfect in every single aspect. It's not like there is man on one side and God on the other side. There is only God. We are just a mere creation of Him. We say how good we are and how great. No, we are just existent out of His mercy. If He didn't want us here, we wouldn't be here. Allah is not an imaginary God either, like an idol who needs help and service and favor. Allah is much, much more. It's like these imaginary idols and God and deities that people have created, they are equal to man, and they're even lower in the case that they need to be taken care of themselves, because in the olden times when you had idols, and we still do here, then when you destroyed them, they're gone. Just like that, the idols are gone, the gods are gone. That's lower than humanity, the humans. None is born of Him, nor was He born Himself. Allah is not as deviated by Christians and polytheists as a father, or for example, in Greek mythology, Norse mythology, different Hinduism, for example, there's this sense that they say there's one God. There's the God's son, who then is also a God and has God-like powers. It's not that. There's just one God, Allah. He wasn't born. Nobody was born from Him. He's not the Father. He created all and everyone, but He's still not the Father. Rather, He's the creator of everything, be it earthly or heavenly. Therefore, everybody is His servant. All are His servants. The people who believe God as a Father are believing in Allah as having limits. As we previously talked, Allah is infinite and has absolutely no limits. Being a servant of Allah is different to being a servant of another human. Being a servant of Allah is different than that. We are all born equal, and then our actions shape who we become. After all, Allah says in the Quran in chapter 49, verse 13, O mankind, indeed we have created you from male and female, and made you peoples and tribes that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is knowing and acquainted. And nor was he begotten. He is not the phenomenon who did not exist once, but then the next day he did exist. Allah is not physical, because if he were to be physical, he would have limits, because he is limited to a physical body. But of course, that's not Allah. We all know that He's not physical. Allah has existed eternally and will continue to exist eternally. And the last verse, and there is none like Him, there is none comparable to Him. He cannot be put beside anyone or anything. He doesn't have any rivals or equals. He can't be competed against. Only from His mercy do we exist. This is His own kingdom and His dominion. He is the King and the Lord and the mighty Creator of everybody. And He is a friend of the believer and the supporter of the believer and the one who has faith. Allah's attributes are attributes of Him, but He Himself is completely ungraspable and absolutely unreachable. We can aim to get His qualities, but that's it. This surah is very simple, but it's so powerful. It's a surah of monotheism. That's what it's called. It states Allah's greatness in a condensed summary. It's brief, but as small as it is, it carries so many hidden treasures. It talks about a God above all, not imaginary, a true God, Allah, the one and only.